Training, a professor of film and television here at SCAD, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you all out to the screening of the mid-season finale of my favorite show, shot right down the street, The Walking Dead. I want you to please stick around after the show, because we're going to have some of the filmmakers and some of the cast come out for a little question and answer session, where we're going to learn a little bit more about the world of The Walking Dead. I do want to remind you to please silence your phone. Nobody wants to hear Nickelback in the middle of the movie, TV show for that matter. Buckle down, get ready. This is going to be awesome. If you haven't seen it before, it's awesome. If you have seen it before, I can't wait to see it again. I'll see you after the show.
Woo. Okay.
It is my great pleasure to welcome to the stage some of the makers of tonight's episode. First up, director of photography and director of this episode, start to finish, Michael Satrazemis.
Woo!
Executive producer of the show, Tom Luce.
Woo!
Co-executive producer, Denise Booth. He's more than just a walking mullet. He's Dr. Eugene Porter, Josh McDermott. You know his Cara. She's the stunning Alana Masterson. And Rosita, the incomparable Christian Serratos.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
It's you. Oh, put your phones down. Seriously, you're gonna look at life like through a screen this big? Yes? They all get up and walk out.
Okay, I'm in a tough bind here. I'm supposed to ask really good academic questions, but I'm also kind of a geeked out fanboy. I'm a little nerding out right now, so this is really cool. So I'm going to save those questions for later. Let's start with something. I do want to ask you guys about making the show in Georgia. I look at the credits for the show, and it's like looking at a SCAD film and television alumni reception or something. It's really cool how many SCAD graduates go into working on this show, and I'm just so thankful that it's done in our own backyard. What brought the show to Georgia, and what is it that makes shooting it here special?
I like the fact that Mike and I are sitting next to each other because we both lived in Georgia when this show started. I'm from Atlanta. Mike is from Denver, but he moved here years ago. And
Boulder. It's Boulder.
Go Broncos.
that was coming.
Sports, guys. We're talking about sports.
Sports and filmmaking, that's all there is.
Our original showrunner, Frank Darabont, and Robert Kirkman, who wrote the comic, wanted to shoot this in Atlanta because the first part of this comic, after Rick leaves his little town, takes place in Atlanta. So it's really written for here. And once we got here, things grow here incredibly fast. It's kudzu. We have to tell our drivers to watch out. And so that's a huge advantage because it looks, we found so many great areas that were overgrown that looked fantastic. And to this day, we keep finding new and great things. So we love being here, and Mikey's here, and so many of our actors now have moved here. It's, for us, a little scary, but not bad.
Yeah, I fully committed. I like Atlanta. I was born and raised in Los Angeles and never lived anywhere else, and I thought that was so irresponsible. So when I found out I was going to be working on the show, I just decided to up and stay here. And now I go home to LA and I say I want to go home. I miss Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta's great. I mean, it's the people are awesome. The weather sucks in the summertime, but for our show, it works. If we, I'm not, it's not Desperate Housewives, whatever Mark Cherry's new show is. what is it called? Devious Maids. I'm so sorry, Mark.
I'm glad you're the only one here that knows Devious Maids. All of us look.
Lifetime. Don't you watch Lifetime?
You do?
They have
That's not a new
shows
show.
and movies. But I'm saying, like, if you know, because I know that Devious Maids doesn't shoot over the summer, but if we were on a show like that, shooting over the summer, trying to look put together, we would look like crap all the time, and it would just we just have to shoot The Walking Dead.
Speak for yourself.
I always look like crap. Yes, but you know, but Atlanta and Georgia is awesome, and then also, you know, I was talking with Tom earlier, and there's a lot of interns from SCAD that we have working on the show that end up getting jobs on the show, and they're working throughout the entire industry here in Georgia, and it's special. You know, it's the footprint of SCAD is so huge, and I ask people all the time, you know, where'd you go to school or whatever, and if it's not tech, it's a lot of times it's SCAD, you know, and it's pretty great that you've had this much influence into the industry here.
Cool. I've got some great questions for you guys.
Sick.
I'm down with that.
Thank you for
Story, Josh.
stopping your sentence.
We can go home now.
Awesome, man. Cool.
Great answer.
I have a question for actors. How do y'all prepare for a role like this? I mean, you don't really kind of get into that place where like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, psychologically live in a zombie apocalypse, because that would be really unhealthy, I would think.
Well, Alana prepares by not doing anything until you say the word action, and then she's brilliant. It's a different method. Yeah.
I'm gonna
than other actors.
I'm gonna do my impression of Alana before they call action. So we're all about to do a scene. She's up there like, yeah, I'm kidding around. Action. She's like,
Action.
right? And you're like, how did you do that? That is crazy. How did you do that?
From within. From within.
It's pretty amazing, though. Really, it is.
You know,
Very few actors have this kind of
Josh.
talent.
No, I think I've talked a lot. Go ahead. How do you
How do
prepare?
I prepare? You know, a little similar to what they were saying. Not unprofessionally, where I'm joking around, but I do like to have a really good time and, you know, make everyone happy and comfortable. And, you know, but then when it's time to work, it's time to work. You know, I think the best thing you can do is be prepared. You know, so if you show up at work not knowing your lines or not knowing your blocking or not paying attention during rehearsal, then you're going to slow production down and it's going to be kind of a problem, and then that man's going to come yell at you. But, you know, if you just show up really knowing your craft and prepare. There's an amazing book that Michael Caine wrote on acting. I, of course, can't remember the name of it, but that's all he says. He's like, if you show up, prepare.
I think so.
All right, relax. It's incredible. You guys should get it. And that's what he says. It's like being prepared, and you'll never be caught off guard, and you can always do an incredible job.
Another excerpt from the Michael Caine book. He says, if my character's not on the first page and the last page, I won't take the job. You're like, okay, dude, chill out. No, you talk about preparation, and the thing that I feel like we do as a cast that I haven't really experienced on anything else I've worked on is we're constantly talking about the story, and we're constantly talking about our characters and the growth that we're going through. And you can prepare, and then you show up on set and have a conversation with someone and still have a new discovery. And then you're able to take that into your third take and to do things like that. And that's really incredible about this show, is because we all want each other to do the best work we can do. It's not a competition.
It's also everyone, you know, Denise is there every day and she weighs in, and Tom is there and he weighs in, and then you have Mikey who's like, okay, but now this light's going to be here, or this is going to be here. It's teamwork, really. That's the only way. It's not just actors, it's not just directors, it's everyone working together, not having egos, and really participating to get the best shot.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the atmosphere, period. From you create the bubble, and going back to the Georgia versus Los Angeles and what the show would be in those two places. The show wouldn't be half of what it is if it was in Los Angeles as opposed to being here in Georgia. We've been able to kind of create a bubble that we protect with everything that we have, because we all know what the show is. You know, whatever the show is to anyone else, it's equally the same to all of us from the very beginning, before anyone ever told us that we were awesome and the show was so great. That, you know, we were just a bunch of people sweating, looking into each other's eyes, going, "This is the real thing," you know, and it's worth the fact that I think I'm going to pass out now, you know, and then we're going to keep going, and that was, you know, way before anyone said this show was anything. We decided this show was something, and we've been able to hold on to it, you know,
a lot
for
of
a
it
long
too
time.
is with the crew. Our crew's the same way. It's, you know, you guys get so excited and you're watching the show. That's our crew's when they get the scripts. You know, they're so fired up and they're such fans of the show and they're so proud to work on it. And you know, that helps the actors as well. As it's, you know, we have a huge cast. They're always together. They're always talking. They're always trying to figure out, you know, where it's going and what the story is going to be. And the crew kills themselves, and it's a huge part of being in Georgia.
It's so hot. Like, you don't understand.
Yeah, it's stupid
I mean,
hot.
but you do, obviously, because you live in the South, but like,
But
it's
we're the idiots
so
who are
hot,
outside all day every day.
and it's like,
Yeah.
and we're all looking at each other just sweaty, and there's ticks.
But
And
it's part of it. It's a huge part of the show.
It's
If
so
we were,
gnarly, but
But isn't it awesome?
yeah, it's the best. The best job.
It is. It's the
best.
best thing
It's
ever.
part of it.
No, it's literally the best job ever.
So it sounds like there's a real
I would
sense of
take it.
community here, right? I mean,
To
it
give you an
really does
idea.
sound that way.
To give you an idea of how hot it was, season 1, we're standing on the roof downtown at the old Southern Railroad building, and we are dying. It's unbelievable.
the roof is white. It, like, the sun would go down and just come.
So,
We were baking.
I'm standing next to an actress, and she has a thermometer out, and she says, "Tom, it's 153 degrees out. We have to do something." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to take this thermometer off this air conditioner unit that is baking on right now."
It really was 153. Don't,
150.
It
don't
was,
lie,
I'm pretty
Tom.
sure. The one thing I will say, and I don't want to over talk these guys up, but they have never met a group of actors that doesn't go to a van to cool down, that doesn't go to a trailer, that sits with you the entire process of lighting it after you've rehearsed it, when you're working with their stand-ins and stand in for yourself, and help develop all of the scenes from the beginning to the end, and that's priceless. There's so many filmmakers on this show, which I think is the highest term you can get. Director or producer, doesn't matter if you're a filmmaker, then you're selfless. And that's what the body of the majority of these people here are.
That's really.
And that's why it is the greatest experience, and that's why every one of our successes is really all
I
based
think it
on
comes from
everybody else.
Andrew Lincoln. I mean,
Yeah.
He obviously is the number one. And he's the man. I mean, he really sets the example.
He's still, you know, from the very beginning, obviously, Andy spent most of the first episode by himself. And the first season, nobody had seen the show. You know, fans of the comic book certainly knew what it was, but we had no expectation of this. I mean, that was absolutely...
What was your expectation for a season?
There was, I remember quite vividly, sitting with Frank back in LA, and we were very... You know, we desperately wanted a second season. We had such a good time. We knew this was a good show. We knew it was special, but there's a lot of good shows and a lot of special shows that are out there that nobody ever sees, that never get made. So we were desperately at that point hoping to beat Mad Men's ratings. That was the number one show on the network at the time, and Mad Men at the time I think was around 2 million. And we came in at around 5.5, 6. But literally sweating it out. You know, Frank pulling the last 3 hours out of his head going, we have to beat Mad Men or we're not going to get a second season. So it you know, it has grown and grown and grown, and Andy has certainly been a huge part of that. He acts like it's the first day of the pilot every single day of the show. He doesn't come into it going, it's season 6 and I'm the star of the biggest show on TV, ever. He's always there, off camera for them, for the crew, for everything. It's incredible.
Andy's British, so he's better than us.
It's true. If you have an accent, like automatically, you're like, you're the man.
Well, I declare.
You're actually
See
going to
what I
come on
did there?
stage and
Okay.
all doing.
Mike, you've had a lot of transition through working on the show. You started first season as a grip, worked your way to camera operator, director of photography, director. Can you talk a little bit about how you've kind of moved through?
I was Daryl at the beginning of the show. The grip part was very early in my career. I started as the camera operator, and was lucky enough to be given the director of photography and director job in the same season. I am living my dream. for sure, 100%. And to the point where I had to realize it and dream another dream. If you ever find yourself realizing that you might be the one in a million and you're living your dream, sit down and rethink another dream so that everything doesn't stop. You know, you have to have some motivation. Just do it. It was a lot of people that believed in me and gave me an opportunity, which happened to be on the biggest television show on the planet. And it's been successful for me. But really, in the end, anytime there's an amazing success, and anytime you realize, wow, this is happening, you have to look and see that there's so many people there that are responsible for why it's happening, that you didn't do it, you didn't make this happen, you found an atmosphere and created it and gave everything that you were towards it, but it's been set up and nurtured. There's, the bar on this show has been raised so many thousands of times by so many people. If you really knew individually what these people right here, sitting here, and then the other 150 that work on the show actually give up and have put all of themselves into developing it, it's pretty amazing. And I realize that I'm one of the luckiest people in the world, and it's because I found this environment, and that's it. You should all search for this kind of environment, and realize that everyone says we're awesome now, but there was a time at the very beginning of every one of your projects and every one of your ideas that nobody's going to tell you you're awesome. You just got to try to gather as many filmmakers at the table that you can, as many people, like-minded people that are willing to take that risk and go for it and believe in it and push it, because the result later is that people tell you it was great. Right now it's just something you believe in, and you have to go for it, and that's what this is all a product of.
Yeah. Mikey's
I know
excitement.
what I just said.
I don't.
No. It was actually
was
like
good.
spot. It was like spot on.
Your excitement level. It's fun to talk. It's fun to talk to Mikey because that's how he is. He's like, this is amazing. I'm living my dream, man. Are you not excited? I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. Like this, it's infectious, and but it's not just him. It's everyone on the crew feels that way. And we've all worked jobs where we hated it, and you don't have to be there. The people don't have to be there. So it's like, why are you bringing a bad attitude? Just make wherever you are the best it can be, because every atmosphere can be what we've created on this show. I've gone and worked other jobs since being on this show, and I've seen it. It's starting to take over the industry a bit, where people aren't putting up with crap anymore. It's like, hey man, we get to make movies, we get to make TV, we get to just dick around and have a good time. This is fun. Let's do this. Let's have a great time. And
So much better than a real job.
it's so much better than a real job.
Yeah, it's funny at the end of the day when you see like a grip walking by and you're like, oh man, that guy's been in the heat for X amount of hours, but you get to hang out with all your friends all day long and make art, and art is what makes the world go around, right? So it's either doing that or sitting behind a desk, maybe not as hot. But
Okay, I know we've got a lot of questions from the audience. I would preface it by saying, don't ask anything about the next half of the season.
I won't answer.
Just don't bother.